Welcome. I'm not seeing chats. There we go. Good morning, Alora. How are you? Tom, good to see you. Today is a new day. It is a new day. It is a new day. Joshua, welcome. Kinsey, thank you for being here. This is a new beginning in oh so many ways. Beautiful souls, welcome here. Thank you for being with us in this and so many other ways. This week, I welcome you to our new community, our new common unity. And this will be a blessing in multiple ways. First of all, I'd like to draw your attention to the fact that we have moved. We have had a space on Volley. It's an application that is now leaving the world. And in the process, we've been motivated to set up something on the website that is in so many ways better. We have a weekly schedule. We have spaces to have multiple different conversations, and we will be posting live meetings throughout the week and over the course of months based in different themes and drawing us together live. The live class on YouTube will continue. However, the readings are going to shift into the membership space. For one thing, I want to do it this way. It will be better. I will be able to see people's faces and reflect. And in the same amount of time, I can give more information and get more accurate insight on what's happening with you because you'll be there to reflect and to confirm basic things about what's happening. I want a boundary around this. I've been offering free readings for over half a year in this way, and I did it in the past as well. And it's a little haphazard doing readings here. And I'm gonna really appreciate shifting this into a space with a boundary. You got to walk through the door. You got to make a commitment to get in the door. And once you're in, there's a lot more possible that wasn't possible before. So this is the last week of readings on YouTube. Starting next week at the pause point where I often take a break, I'm going to say goodbye. And then we're going to shift into the membership space and there'll be a live meeting which you can join. And I'm excited. I'm really excited about how this can work. This is just the beginning of it. Right now, folks, you are welcomed. You are invited into the membership space for what we are calling the legacy membership, meaning you sign up now, you get a much lower rate than in the future. We're going to be raising it, but the first people through the door, you're going to get a rate that lasts. So as long as you continue and stay with us, you get to keep staying with the introductory or legacy membership. And I'm really thrilled about how that can work because frankly, the first people who commit and become a part of it are making a much different kind of gift of offering of participation than anyone else. So the fact that you could do it this way is going to be phenomenal. And I'm excited to welcome you in at a special rate in a special way. And all the first people who get there will stick with this membership, the legacy as it is. So go to the website. We'll link it in the description. And this particular introduction rate, I don't know how long it's going to go for. We'll see. It's starting for this week for sure. Next, we're going to be focusing on more consistent themes. The themes are related to astrology. And for this to make sense, you really have to get acquainted with how multiple levels of mathematics and vibration work. Suffice it to say, the key ring, the same cycle we use as a foundation for aligning our energy and reading energy within ourselves and the way I read you, the same pattern in which the yoga is based is the foundation of a very harmonic sequence of progression that aligns with astrology in a particular pattern. We're going to use these cycles to guide the themes of this class, of the themes of meditations in the membership space, and of the questions and other explorations we do with each other. And these themes end up correlating to, normal fundamental elements of our lives. And they start now with Taurus and the root. The root chakra. First, we're going to talk about it a little. Then we're going to do a meditation. Then we'll move into questions, and because there will be some questions today, and we'll do readings for the last time on YouTube and move on for the rest of our day, inviting you into the membership space. First of all, we're going to talk about the root and community, and I'll say hello even again. Who else is here? Jeannie, the Jeannie. Ah, thank you. Welcome and bless you. Love and light to you. Joshua, thank you for being here. Erica, I'm so glad you're here. Beautiful people indeed. This is, in so many ways, a perfect place to begin, the root. And we're gonna give this its proper attention. So for the next several weeks, we're gonna be doing root-themed emphasis. One of the most fundamental ways you can address the root is your needs. What do you need? Well, when you think about what you need, sometimes people are going to focus perhaps a little haphazardly. I'm going to ask you this question. What do you need? Now, I will go further to say if you focus on your root while you ask this question, it will work better. Part of the premise of talking with your spirit, and I say talking with, not to, when you talk with your spirit, you're maintaining a focus in feeling. So you can use your imagination at first to think about the location in your body, the perineum, the base between number 1 and number 2. You can activate this space by learning the root lock. There's a breath that goes with this. It allows you to maintain your focus here. When you maintain your focus here, you also think. When you start, just get in the area. Think at the perineum and ask this question. What do you need? Now look, if you're not starting where you need to start, you're missing something. You need oxygen. You need some degree of warmth. You need to live between thresholds of warmth and heat. So you can't be too hot and you can't be too cold. Next, you need food, water, liquid. Stop. Here you are. This is a foundation. And if you don't think of this foundation, you miss something. Because if you have these things, guess where you need to start? Gratitude. Gratitude. Really. You're being taken care of. Now, the reason this is so fundamental and so important as a place to begin is because somewhere deep inside you, you know full well that you're a spiritual being having a human experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And from that perspective, this is a home. This right here is a home. And it's a gift to you. This is not you. This is a gift to you. And you're going to give it back. When we begin from here, from this recognition and awareness, something very crucial happens. Gratitude. You begin to recognize that even when there's no roof above your head, you get a roof. You're in the world. You're in this body in the world. And both of these protective layers are something that you don't have before you incarnate. When you get into an awareness that this is really special, you begin from the right place. Let's begin. Breathe with your root and take this to the next level. Now we're doing 3 things at once, people, and you don't have to do it well, but you need to do it today, and you need to try to do it tomorrow, and you need to do it the next day, and you need to do it the next day, and you get better at it over time. You focus, you breathe, and you think. Mind, body, spirit. When you get these 3 things working together, something very special happens. Because you literally can't think clearly about a bad thought when you breathe and focus on the chakra at the same time. You can't think about the wrong thing effectively. Your effort to focus on the spiritual resonance and the location itself and breathing with that resonance will prevent you from accentuating particularly wrong thoughts, negative thoughts, thoughts that run counter to your truth. When you just completely ignore your body, completely ignore your chakras, completely ignore your breath, you can stay totally focused on an utterly self-destructive thought. The thought itself could exist here, and the thought might exist independent of your self-interest. So you can become identified with something that's complete sabotage to your truth, to your health, to your presence. In fact, likely as not, you are doing this already. As I presence that, I suggest you become acquainted with this. This is sage. Sage is an ally. Sage is a friend. Sage, burning of sage, will literally counter self-destructive thoughts, thoughts that are destructive to life. And when you engage with sage, it will have a particular emphasis on your life and your health. So if there's a thought living right here that somehow made its way to my presence, that's essentially kind of a suicidal thought, it's attacking my presence, sage will help dissolve it. You know what else will help dissolve it? Your breath. Your breath. When you take deep inhales, you're not just helping yourself focus. Now you are. When you take deep inhales, you're helping yourself focus on wherever you focus. So if you're breathing and you're tuning into your root chakra, that will help you stay tuned to your root chakra. As you breathe in and out, the first crucial thing you do is you begin to adjust your pace. As you adjust your pace, you can learn to feel the rhythm of the spirit. Spiritual resonance isn't exactly constant. It's a frequency. There's pulsation to it. And as you tune in more acutely to this pulsation, you're going to begin to follow that rhythm, but you can't do it without your breath. With your breath, the first thing you do is adjust it. So it's like a fit, all right? You're fitting a shoe to your foot. You're fitting a breath to your chakra. Now, one of the first things to know about this is every chakra might have a slightly different fit. So as we change from chakra to chakra, you just want to become accustomed to the normal nature of shifting your breath. When you're tuning into one chakra, however, your first tool is pace. First tool is pace. Second is depth. Now, put on the brakes, start over. When I say focus on your breathing, what do? Be really honest with yourself. Likely as not, you start to try to control it right away. Stop it. You don't know how to control your breath. Please consider these. Now, if you've been practicing this for a while, maybe you're a little bit better at it. But it's good to stick with this humility. You don't know how to control your breath. The goal isn't to control it. The goal is to be a participant in healthier breathing. And the first thing you want to do is begin to adjust with what is present already. Your body is already trying to breathe well. You're just likely as not getting in the way. How do you get in the way? You think about things that are out of tune with your life force. Believe me, this is the case. Now, on a very simple level, if you listen to someone talking for 2 hours who is not breathing well, you're going to end up in the pattern of their breathing. The pattern of the breath is in the pattern of the energy, which comes through the pattern of the voice or the sound or whatever pace of communication they share. So you have to be increasingly conscious what's happening to you while you think. What we're doing is we're participating in changing our thought process without having to wrestle with all your thoughts. When you wrestle with thoughts, likely as not, you become those thoughts in a certain way at a greater depth. Imagine someone's trying to wrestle with you for real, and they're stronger than you. They're more skilled, and they're a little bit of a beast, and they know how to move, and they know how to sort of swing and grab. When you're not as capable as a wrestler, you're going to almost immediately put in a position of responding to them. They have the initiative. They grab at your leg. You have to try to pull away from their grab. They push at you. You have to dodge their push. Your actions will be dictated by the rhythm of this force that's essentially attacking you. Thoughts work the same way. Just because you start opposing a thought doesn't mean you're free from the thought. In fact, in very many ways, you could be investing more heavily in the thought. Why are we talking about this? Because after oxygen, water, and a degree of warmth and shelter, which I argue begins with your body and is clothes, only next is a house. After these things, you need to start taking care of your energy. And taking care of your energy, unfortunately, often looks like waking up amidst confusion, surrounded by thoughts and patterns of habit that are present that are not ideal for you. And so the first thing I want you to be able to recognize is the way in which you're wrestling with energetic presence that is dictating the terms to you. See, just because you suddenly identify that you don't like one of your habits doesn't mean you escape it, right? Because as soon as it asserts itself into your presence, you could be wrestling with it, but if you don't win, it's going to end up dictating what you do next. In fact, even when you're saying no, if you're saying, no, I don't like this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to be present with this, I don't want to eat that, I don't want to watch that, you're still thinking about it. The goal isn't just to not do something. The goal isn't just to say no to what isn't healthy. The goal is to focus yourself into a rhythm that is healthy, which brings us back to chakra magic. I tune into my root. I breathe. Here is the acceptance from which all else begins. Healthy thoughts function in rhythm to your focus and your breathing. Healthy thoughts about the root chakra change the root chakra. A thought is not a thought, is not a thought. A thought is an energetic presence. When we contemplate and focus on a chakra, we are essentially tightening up our thought processes on those themes. Chakras aren't like your lungs. Chakras, the lungs, you can ignore the lungs are still going to be there. Now, much more than you may recognize, your lungs change dramatically. You ignore your lungs, you smoke a lot, you breathe in unhealthy air, you don't breathe deeply, your lungs are going to look pretty shitty after a couple weeks and then years. Worse as it goes. You have much more influence to change your lungs than you'd want in this regard. until you commit to health. And you want it. Chakras, much more susceptible. So when you ignore a chakra, it's not nearly as present. Chakras are mediating our interaction between intentional imagination and physical presence. They're in between. So you can't change it just like that, but you can change it a lot more quickly than you can change your lungs. It's not as dense. So fleeting thoughts, if I say, think about a party hat. Imagine a party hat. Imagine it. There's a cone. What do you put on the party hat? What's on the party hat? I see little rainbows, balloons, and stars. Okay, as soon as we imagine that together, rainbows, balloons, and stars on a party hat, my daughter loves those party hats. We just used one. As soon as we imagine that, it exists. That thought exists. But chakras carry the momentum of how you've been thinking for the past year. So it's a collection of density of the habits of your thoughts. So it's mediating. It's in between your life force as it expresses in the world and the thought you come up with right now. When you train your chakras to be clear, consistent, tight, in a good, strong spin, everything about that theme works better. And the simplest way to work with the chakra is to breathe with it. We're just coming back to the root again. And I'm breathing with my root. What do you need next? You got yourself in this warmth bracket, not too hot, not too cold. You want to have some kind of covering, because even if it's not too hot or not too cold, you want to have some degree of protection from the elements. You want to breathe. You want to drink water and eat some food. What do you need next? Company. People. The challenge is we need other people. We need each other. We really do. And we are brought together by the strongest resonance that we share. So if we're going to be together in any form, something has to bring us together. What's the common denominator? About, 20 years ago, I started a journey looking for an intentional community. I was so sick of the world as I found it. I was so sick of everything in front of me. I'd tried Kung Fu and studying with shamans and studying with musicians and studying dance and studying lots of different kinds of yoga, studying another kind of dance. I joined this little weekly community. I went to these clubs. I had friends who ran a club and brought in musicians. I got to go there. I went to this restaurant regularly. None of it worked. None of it worked. None of it was enough. I started an intentional house. I invited people to live with me. None of it was enough. Something was just wrong about everything I saw around me. And I lived in New York City. I had a lot of options. So having exhausted what I believed were the options in front of my face, I started traveling. And I went through the web to study, what might work. Now, this might sound very, very obvious, but without putting a mind frame to it, you don't know what you're doing, right? The basic thing you do when you look out for a place to unite with other people, something has to be the common denominator. Well, what I found over time, over the next several years, was that in a certain respects, it doesn't matter what it is. Anything can unite you. You could say we all love stones. And if everybody starts to learn about stones, so you learn about the grades of stones, you learn about stones that chip, you learn about stones that might have, different minerals in them. Now, if everybody knows how to talk about those stones, now you have a common denominator around which to have conversations. You bring your stones, they bring their stones, you can trade stones. What's really happening is human connection. The stones can be just an excuse. In order to create the connection that we need, we have to agree on something. Now, I know this is obvious, but we want to bring this back to the raw roots. We're talking about the root chakra. Your root chakra, likely as not, has not been fulfilled. You are likely not getting what you need in your community. Why? Because you're here. You're spending time with us online. Now, in all deep love and appreciation, wouldn't it be great if we were just surrounded by human beings who we really got along with, who are right here? But in so many cases, we're not. Why is this? Why is this? Well, one of the most essential reasons is because the world is changing a lot. The old models of common unity, the old models that kept people together, are deteriorating. Their integrity is not very strong. Integrity, the internal process of the strength that keeps things together, isn't working so well. Religious patterns that we've carried for thousands of years are not answering the questions that people are feeling right now. And there's this process of awakening. Awakening. As the part of ourselves that existed before your birth starts to wake up a little more. This could be a slow process. It could take years. There's a part of you that is aware beneath the circumstances you've been born into. And it starts to wake up, and you start to have a broader depth of perception. You start to see in the spiritual dimensions. As you do this, you begin to become aware of how unacceptable many of the patterns around you are. As soon as you see that, you feel it, or as soon as you feel it, you see it. It happens in a different order of progression, but your awareness somehow centers on the fact that you're not getting what you need. The simple response to this is you are resonating an energy. In fact, you're resonating a collection, a rainbow of vibrancy into the world. In order to be intimate with anyone else, intimacy, in order to be able to share deeply with anyone else, much less a group of people, you have to have enough in common that there's a meaningful level of connection. If I'm thinking about A and B and C and D and E often, and I occasionally think about F, if I walk into a room and everyone's going F, 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 it's not going to work very well. If I'm thinking about J and K and L and M and N, and someone's only thinking about Z, it's not going to work at all. This is analogous to your spirit. Your spirit has a process of creation. It's happening within you, and then it resonates into the world. Enough of your energy needs to be able to sing with someone else's energy that you can make a meaningful connection and share. And when that's not happening, you feel it. You're essentially frayed all the time. What that means is there's a little strand of energy that you're creating. It's meaningful to you. It matters. And it's going out into the world, but it's not making a connection. And it feels scary, afraid. It's a very deep presence. You feel anxious because a part of you needs connection and isn't getting it. This is a need. When a certain strong proportion of yourself is basically making music within you, energetic music, you're generating it and you can't even really stop it. Once the process of your awakening begins, you can't even stop generating this energy. It just happens. And likely as not, you think you're the problem because you're the one who's anxious. Other people are kind of, they're doing what they do. They're still, maybe they go to the business, they don't go to the business. Maybe they go to church, they don't go to church. They do what they do. They do the same things they were doing last year. All of a sudden, you do those things and they're not fulfilling. And we are here to say, hey, guess what? Your needs aren't getting met. It's a need. You have a need for connection. You have a need for connection that's honest. It's honest to you. What does that mean? You can't just think about rocks. It won't work because you're already present with something else. Now, maybe you're thinking about it, maybe you're not. But the reality is your energy itself is generating. It's present and it's trying to move out into the world with this tendril of connection. And you don't need to like mirror someone else. You don't need to be exactly the same. You just need to be able to kind of dance with them. And your rhythm has to fit with some other people's rhythm. You want to be in a room where the music is the same, and you're not. And when you find yourself anxious in these ways, you feel like you're sick. But there's an amazing solution. We can share this way. In fact, the depth of connection we can share this way is astounding. We can maintain a strength in our connection that transcends distance. And so there's this initial sadness for so many people. You wake up amidst folks who aren't doing it. They aren't aware, they aren't thinking about these things. And when you try to get them to think about these things, their thresholds are often very low. They're like, I don't want to talk about reincarnation. I don't want to talk about my dreams. I don't want to talk about yoga. I don't want to talk about a lot of the things you need to connect on. And it is amazing how much can be fulfilled with this distance. What you need is connection for these aspects of yourself. You also need physical connection and intimacy, but they don't have to be the same. This is astounding. And I can tell you this because I took a different road. I was so strong with my presence and need for connection on the spiritual focus that I was embracing, that I was ready to let go of everything about my life as I knew it. I was ready to walk away from friendships and a home and go searching. And here's what I found. Giving up everything doesn't always work. When you give up everything, you lose something else. You have a need to have some degree of healing with your own roots as you know them, meaning the people you grew up with, especially including some of your blood family, you need to care about them. It doesn't always work. You often carry dramas. You often might need distance for one reason or another. But if you stop caring about them as if you could cut them off, you'll get a little sick. You need people who you can share with, connecting the spiritual presence and awareness that's waking up in you. But they don't have to be the same people. You need it both. It is so lonely. It is so difficult for so many people, but we can do something about that. And that's one of the core reasons that we're shifting the emphasis of this work into a new membership space, a sanctuary that you could be a part of. We're going to be creating things almost every day to do. Now, some of it's going to be as simple as on Wednesday, we're going to be asking a weekly witness question, which means we're going to be asking a question we all ask together, which gives you an opportunity to think about that theme and share. Monday, we're going to be sharing a meditation that everyone can do and talk about how it affects you. On Tuesday, we're going to be doing readings at 11 in the membership space. And on Thursdays, we're going to be doing a Q&A for the first course, which hopefully you'll consider joining once you get in there. The goal here is to help you make sense of what's happening to you. Now, again, the challenge of all this awakening energy has a bigger purpose than we could possibly articulate in any small amount of time. Or we can make it this simple. You're fucking amazing. You're amazing. You're a divine spiritual being having a human experience. And there is a latent presence within you that allows you to be so much more conscious, aware, and dynamic than you may have imagined. You have magic living in your body, and it begins with an awareness of your chakras. Your chakras are communicating so much to you about how life works and how it can work better. Your own chakras are communicating to you exactly where you lose the most energy, exactly where your efforts are not working, exactly where you bear burdens that are inhibiting anything else you try to do. And when you don't have a way to interpret all this information, you simply can't afford to pay attention to it. In fact, most people don't. Most people still stay numb because it's so overwhelming that it is literally counterproductive to become aware of these forces. You wake up to it and it's just a mess. You start thinking about things that don't seem to have resolution. You start feeling feelings that you have no idea how to integrate. You become not just one fray in the world. You know what a fray is? It's a little strand of string that ends up like getting, broken away from a tapestry or a piece of clothing. And if you pull on it, you're pulling the whole string and you're going to like bunch up parts of the cloth or the fabric. You're going to damage the entire. When you weave a fray back in, you need to kind of tie it off and make it clear. In life, what we want to do is have a woven nature with others. So the reason you feel afraid, which you might experience as something that's anxious, which you might experience that's something that's just tense. So sometimes, we don't experience these things emotionally, but you do carry this presence that's yearning for connection. Well, the reason you need to go through that is if you didn't free up energy to try to reach out and connect, you wouldn't connect. You have to go through the process of kind of unfolding elements of yourself. When you were sort of wrapped into yourself, you didn't experience the lack. You didn't experience the confusion or the tension of yearning to connect. So in some ways that seems pleasant, but if you're honest, it's very numb. It's very inadequate. There are so many things that used to fulfill me, and I try to do them now, and I'm just like, this doesn't do anything for me. It's not bad. It just doesn't do it. It's not enough. It's not present. It's not conscious. It's not aware. I simply am unsatisfied by doing a lot of things that I can remember with joy. I can remember it with joy, but now I'm this person with this strength of connection. I have the ability to reach out and connect in a lot of ways, all at once. And I introduce you to the fact that this is what's happening to you. The reason you're going through an opening and attention and anxiety in these ways is because you are preparing yourself. It's a phase of opening in order to connect more deeply. And it's not just random. Many people go through a tortured length of time, becoming addicted to certain things that somehow numb out or calm down this drive to connect. But the reality is there's purpose beneath these connections. These aren't just random connections. There's a rhythm to every single element of you that's yearning to connect. And it functions in two ways. Think of it this simply at first: positive and negative. The negative things reflect whatever woundedness or baggage you carry. When your spirit awakens, it yearns to connect in a way that will help these things heal. And so you need multiple levels of connection to help you heal. One, you need to relate to other people who understand the kind of pain or confusion or loneliness you're in. You need that. It's a need. Another, you need someone who's experienced, a healer or a teacher who can be present in a way that knows how to keep you a little bit calmer just by the nature of our presence. This is what I do in many ways. And when your needs become that strong and that intense, you know that you're vulnerable, you're scared, and you're in pain on various levels, particularly spiritual pain. The angst of feeling lost in existence can be terrifying. And you're going through this in order to connect much more deeply. You have to. There's no other road. There's no other route. As soon as you unfold elements of yourself and start to reach out, whatever is real within you is present. It's right there. And the brutal, deep, naked honesty is transparent. You can no longer hide things. You can no longer reframe things in order to feel better about yourself. It's just right here to be seen. I can see you. I can give you these readings through YouTube just by your name and tuning into you. And this is a skill that will become increasingly commonplace in the next several decades. In fact, much of what we do is teach you the road to activating this kind of awareness because you need it for yourself. You need to be able to understand these aspects of you. And in order to understand them, you have to learn to see them in various ways. Now, this is analogous, but it can be literal. You see it with your mind's eye. You can literally imagine in a way that gives you more information about what's happening in you. And so we tune in and we breathe with our root. And when you breathe with your root, you're going to shift your thoughts towards imagining. When you put intention into imagining, it literally draws the energy from thinking into imagination. You're seeing it rather than verbalizing it. You can't really do both at once particularly effectively. Not if they contradict. Thus, when you put this intention into play, I visualize the base of my chakra system at the root. I focus on it and breathe. Now we add color. Red. A sort of deep red, like a soil almost. Now, to imagine a color clearly, to focus on that color with your visualization, to feel and focus your feeling on the location of the chakra, and to breathe. This is a lot to do at once, and I'm inviting you to do it again and again. We breathe with our root. What do you need in your life? What do you need that you're not getting? And I urge you not to second guess this. Witness the answer. Just witness it. I need to feel like I'm reaching more people more effectively. I need to feel like my skills and insight and experience are doing a better job of connecting through to you. I'm tired of just relying on YouTube and one-on-one sessions for this. I need a space where I can be answering your questions more effectively, where I can give a reading and receive feedback quickly. And I need to do that in groups so I don't have the feeling that I'm repeating myself endlessly. When I do it in a group, I can engage with one person and the way they learn can influence the way you learn. 40 people could be in the same meeting and all witness a conversation with one person, and it can be deeply valuable for everyone. And I need the energy flow in my life to work this way because I have this much to give. I have this much connection that's ready and willing and waiting. I've cultivated my own life to the point where I can give in this way. And it becomes something at this point over time. When you invest in a path long enough, you can't just change it like this. There's a momentum, and that momentum registers in the chakras. And so the surrender to accept the presence of your chakras is a surrender to trust life. It means, yes, you don't get the illusion that you could just go in any direction whenever you want to. You have to re-steer yourself. You have to contend with the momentum of where you've been, and you have to honor the momentum of your karma drawing you into a dharma. And this is the last theme we'll address today. Momentum in your life can be understood as karma. Karma can be understood as the momentum of the life force within you. Negative karma is the momentum of bad patterns that are detrimental to your life force and the life force of the people around you. You can't just make them disappear because you decide to. But the second you decide to change them, you begin to re-steer that force, and you have to deal with it. This manifests at the end of the day as pain and trauma and confusion and loneliness that you experience within yourself. Rather than trying to write a pretty story on top of it and suggest that it's healthy to feel the way you do, which can distract you from the pain, you honor the truth that it just doesn't work for you. The patterns in your life are not working. You don't get enough trust. You don't get enough help. You don't get enough honesty. You don't get enough intimacy. When you sit down and you dig deep to just acknowledge this, something does change right away. And I suggest to you, this is a need. When we come back to this question, what do you need, again and again, I invite you to consider that if you're having trouble answering this question, it's because the next need, after all your basics have been met, the next need is usually for healing. That's raw in so many cases. To stare honestly at the fact that you can't connect, you can't experience the loving partnership or the deep friendship that you want to experience because your pain's in the way, your baggage is in the way, your hurt from the past is in the way, your sense of loss is in the way, your sense of fear that you're going to get hurt again in a way you used to get hurt is in the way. So the need becomes healing these forces, healing them, addressing them honestly, being present with yourself as you really are, and getting the support from other people who can relate. I've been nervous to make this step for sure. It's a challenge. Some of you likely won't stay, and new people will arrive. And yet some of you have been giving much more than I anticipated or asked. Some of you have been essentially volunteering to make this a deeper community, showing the need right in front of our face, that we're here for each other, that we learn how to support each other more effectively. These are all human beings. It's not just numbers. It's not just 11 people in a little stat, right? You're 11 human beings paying attention right now in this moment. How many others are ideal to connect with in the world? When we put this out there into the world and we draw people who are willing to be present and reflect and hold space and care and honor basic agreements about how to hold space for each other, how to tend the sense of loss, the sense of displacement that occurs when you awaken. We need a safe space for this. And that's why we're making one. So when this is over, I hope you will seriously consider taking a step over to wildflowerfire.com and signing up for our new membership space. We're juggling this into existence. So the first people through the door, you're getting a cheaper rate, and you're going to get to keep that rate. So if you sign up and you keep your membership going, you get to keep it that way in perpetuity. And I'm doing this till I'm 80 something, people. Like, this is my deepest calling. I love this work. And in some form, we're going to keep this going. So join now and be someone who commits to holding space for others in this way. We are part of a great awakening. To the extent that it works to use the same terms other people are using, let's do it. There is something tremendous happening, but it needs context. It needs direct connection. It needs you to have a sense of purpose and a common unity that we can share with each other and build upon, get better at. And you can trade to take it even further and to learn the skills to guide other people in meditation and yoga and even offering basic healing. And we can do that together all over the world in this way. And eventually you can do that in person for the people right around you. So 3 minutes, people, right now. For the next 3 minutes, I invite you to focus on your root and breathe one last time. You focus on the root. You adjust your breath to fit. Start subtle, aim to go deeper. Feel your root and breathe with the feeling. Breathe so deeply you lose focus on the feeling and then back off to the point where you can stay focused on the feeling. Find your edge. Ooh. Who felt that? You tune in with your root, and your root tells you exactly where you really are. Anything that's in the way of you awakening a stronger energy in your life will presence itself in the root. Like a block, like a rotting tree. And you breathe and focus on the feeling. Any dissonance or tension you sense in a chakra, and it'll tell you about what it is. It's that specific. And one of the last feelings that gets in the way is the fear that something won't work. And I want you to celebrate it if this is the kind of thing you uncover. When you start to feel the potential for a new life, a new depth of vibrancy in your life, you will naturally experience some presence of, oh God, that can't be real. It's too beautiful. Breathe. Because your thoughts can say, this is too beautiful for me. Your thoughts can react against the beauty, but your focus can feel it and breathe. And I assure you, the focus of your breath and your concentration is more powerful than the presence of your doubts in your mind. Breathe with your root and sense the trust that you can embrace as the earth feeds you strength and vibrancy. It rises up from the grounds through your legs to center in your root and then shoot up your spine through your heart to your crown. And you breathe with this sense of connection from the root to the crown present in your heart. And you recenter in your heart, recognizing your heart drawing strength to you, drawing presence, spirit, the blood of life. Breathe with this and allow your breath itself to draw strength to your root. And I ask you once again, what do you need? And for now, I leave you with this question. I'll see you in a couple minutes. I'll come back for the last time reading on YouTube. I appreciate your presence. Thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Love, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and simple, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Any questions on anything we shared this morning? Let's do some questions first, and then we'll do some readings, but particularly any questions about even the mechanics of this New space, this new sanctuary. Bless you, Karen. Thank you. Oh yeah, there's a trial period. There's a trial period, but you don't get to keep free. Once you sign up, if you sign up with the initial legacy amount, which is 9.99, you get to keep that. And I'd really like to get this up to something like $300 a year. It's super valuable, and we're going to be doing live questions and live readings in the space. It's going to be full of special content just for each other, and a special sacred space to communicate with each other and to build that kind of support and camaraderie. Doesn't work without a closed door. I'm excited to have something like this, and you do get to try it for free for now. That's not gonna, we're not gonna always offer it that way, but we're starting. So there you go. So show up, try it out. Ask any questions you have on that, but I'll just hold that option open a little longer, then we'll do some readings. Woohoo! We're also developing an intro course that will be free with the membership. It's just a 3-week course that'll outline 3 weeks of repatterning yourself to be in tune with this work, to be able to read your energy clearly, to be ready for the first course. And many people have said, first course is a lot. It's an incredible challenge, gives you a ton to learn, and it would be nice to give people emphasis and focus to get there. And we're going to do that. And it'll be an ideal welcome into the dynamics of the membership space itself, and how to have this common denominator, this common language to talk to your own spirit, and then talk to each other about how you're learning to talk to your own spirit. So that's going to be a part of it too, and you'll all get it. We're creating it right now. All right. It can feel like, how shall I say? It can feel a little, I don't know, heartless to be like, come on, you can learn to make money. But the reality is you can. This is a basic thing about energy flow. And, I didn't like it for a long time. I actively said no to money, and I learned a ton, but I was essentially just putting off this lesson. And you can learn it earlier, you can learn it later. Now, this doesn't mean become heartless. Give. I'm on this trend on YouTube of these people who they just walk up to folk who are in need, and they give them something, and they're filming it. It's utterly beautiful. When you have resources, you could do that. You could connect to people who are really several steps away from knowing how to manage their energy in a way that would make them magnetic for finances, for opportunities, for camaraderie. You can do this. Anyone here can learn to do this. And I deeply sympathize if you're, part of your spiritual journey is that you're struggling with this theme. So there's, we can work. You can work for your space if you really can't make $10 a month. You can make $10 a month. And I do think for many people, it just feels great to give a little money, to know it's clear, and move on. My yoga training was like $3,000 20 years ago. It was the most expensive yoga training I could find. And I was like wrestling in my mind about this, because I had $5,000 total and I didn't have a job. Really, $5,000 total. And I didn't have a job. And all the other, I knew I had to do a yoga training, and all the other yoga trainings weren't right. And this one was just screaming, this is it. This is what you need. It started in 2 weeks. It was close to me in Southern California. And I was appalled at how much. It was like $3,500. It was the most expensive yoga training I could find. I did it. It was awesome. It was absolutely the right thing for me. And I found new ways to make money. The flow of energy through you can only happen if you commit to learning how to make it happen. But part of that is, if you know full well that you're too scared to make a financial commitment right now, send a message. We'll talk. All right. Good for you, Misty. I love it. Your root told you that. So readings, I love it. It's awesome. Our root is basic needs, and it does end up moving into an understanding of finances and money And you can do this. You can do this. A lot of times people reject money because they've been so bad at it that they make bad deals. And it's true. Like once you have a certain amount of money, and just like once you have a certain amount of energy, you will experience challenges to that. People will try to take it from you. All of a sudden, you'll walk by a store and you'll be convinced you need something. You're going to have to like learn to discipline these elements, to say no, to letting the flow go in the wrong way, to buying things you don't need, to paying people who aren't good for you. You can do it. You can learn these lessons. Will help you. All right. Readings. And okay, Alora, you're moderating. Thank you very much. Angie, Corvin, Shannon, Trevor, Jordan, Xander, Alora, Erica, Karen, Tom, JD. Goodness. All right. Angie. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you. Angie. Your strongest need is to communicate honestly and clearly without fear. It's the biggest inhibition in your energy flow. There's a fear that comes over you when you think of communicating honestly. Whew, strong. So I could be present with it because I know I can transmute it. It's alchemy. I could be present with an energy that's framed in a negative way. Energy isn't negative. Energy is in a negative way. It's tuned negatively. But when you can get beneath energy, you can change it and it just becomes raw energy like soil again. You need to know this about yourself, but you can't change your energy until you honestly share your energy. And you can't honestly share your energy if you're in fear. You need a safe space to communicate, period. And we're uncoincidentally offering that. You need it, you need it, you need it. You need to know that you can share it today and tomorrow and in a week and in a year in a way that's honest and true to you. And you need to develop it. That's what being an artist really is. And you are an artist in every sense of the word, Angie. And you need to rest in this. There is no self-indulgence in this process. Whoever's told you that, really, they need to leave. That mind needs to leave you. There is a mind. It's not a person. Came to you through a person, likely more than one, but there's a mind state that's been tearing you down, telling you it's self-indulgent to think of yourself as an artist. You need our help in saying no to that, because this is a fundamental need. And from me, I read this. This is where your energy flow needs to move in trust. Your throat's choked up because as you've thought of expressing your honest, present truth, there's been an immediate reaction clamping down on it. And you're wounded from this. It hurts you. It's in your field. I can sense it just tuning into it. But it's getting better. This is significantly better than half a year ago. Really, really. I know you're juggling a lot, but trust this. This is improving. Keep going. There's no shame in wanting to be surrounded by safe people who support and respect and honor you. Let's make use of this closed door policy and you feel safe. And plan on sharing your art with a deeper respect for yourself, that you're creating art as an honest expression of who you are. And that's a gift in its honesty. And then it's an inspiration to others, because as you liberate your voice in this honesty, you create space for others to do the same. That's it, Angie. That's where you're staying. I don't want to complicate things by adding more. That's where it starts. It will lead to expressing the need for healing, because it brings up stuff, to be honest with your voice. Trust that. There's no hurry. Enough. Corvin, Huh. There's a force around you that's like being sarcastic. It I would suggest this is probably a person, but it manifests as a force to me. So it's like someone who seems to understand you the most is actually not kind in your present. Sort of like as you step into yourself, they're being like, "Oh, you great king." And it's coming from a very insecure space in them. Like they don't know how to honor their own majesty, their own divinity. So look, crown, all right? Understand this. Everybody can find value in this lesson, but you need it, Corvin. We are ultimately all our own king and queen, our own monarch. To be sovereign of yourself, you have to own that sense of presence, that you are the king of you. You are the queen of you. In some cases, just blend it. You're your own nobility. When you own this, it comes through in your presence and people react against you as if you think you're better than them. Doesn't have anything to fucking do with them. It's about you. This is about you, owning you. But a lot of people who are not next door to being able to accept this in themselves will tear you down. You heard this thing like, why could you leave a can of worms with no lid on it? When a fisherman goes fishing, they could leave a can of worms with no lid on it. Because if one worm tries to climb out, the others drag it back in. You're confronted by this kind of force. And for you, I would like to really ask everyone to circle around here. And to the extent that you are open to this, Corvin, I invite you to sit in the middle of our circle. There's a voice tearing you down, and it's not acceptable. It's a hard no. It seems to understand you more than most other people around, but it's sick. There's something sick in it. We witness you. We witness you in your divine presence. We witness your right to say no. You know you. You know the truth of your presence. You're finding it, and then it's getting whittled down. We hold you as you know yourself to be. Let this flow and let yourself feel it in your crown. I invite you to feel your crown opening. You can sense this. Breathe with it. I urge you to recognize that your breath and the presence of this energy can wash away the doubt. Allow the presence of your breath and this spirit to literally dissolve the link that allows any other voice to tear you down. Because ultimately, nothing can harass you unless you maintain an insecurity within yourself. When you maintain insecurities within yourself, that's what an external force can latch onto. Dissolve it within yourself, you become increasingly immune to that kind of criticism. And that's good. That was a lot. Don't push for more right now. Get used to these. I sense an urge in you to like push too hard. This won't slip away. Commit to the discipline of it. Commit to the discipline of it. I really do invite you to join this new sanctuary we're creating. You need it. You need to feel safe in this way. Build your disciplines. You don't have to rush. It won't slip away. Focus on your crown and breathe. Remember this. Shannon. You are not a hawk. You've lived awakening your spirit, and you're not surrounded by enough people who get it. But you are blessed with a partner who's on this journey with you. The model for many people when they begin awakening is a hawk. You become a fierce, predatory, territorial creature. And it's rational, it's sane, and it's in many ways healthy. However, in the long term, it's not. You're not a hawk. You need family. You need community. You need common unity. And hawks they're more lone creatures. They stay in their tight families. They hunt on their own frequently, and you're not suited to it. And you're measuring yourself against this as if you have to become that more and more because you have had to be it in certain respects. Can you let go of this? Can you trust us to take it deeper? There's a sense of security in sort of like, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be lonely. I'm gonna go off on my own, because it's like no one can take that away from you. But that's not what's being asked of you, and I think you know that. So when you breathe in your belly, I'm gonna bring you back to the core work I keep telling you to do. You're doing some. Not well enough. You need more. You really do. You need to build this core. You need to build your core. Some of this work can be done in your core. Actually, it's not as you don't have as much to burn through. It's not tight, but I'm not worried. Like you're not carrying a sickness that I used to see there. So good job. Good job. There's no rush, but you can build this tighter. You can build this core tighter. You want 3 sets of core exercises to form failure every other day. 3 sets every other day. It's a serious challenge, but you can do it. And failure means you're into the fire, but you're not lurching. You're not straining to do one more. None of that. You don't need to do that. Just 3. And I invite you to the morning yoga and the core yoga, which introduces different ways to do that. I can't suggest or encourage it enough. Really, anyone can make this commitment. It's awesome, but you need it, Shannon. And it's in your navel. You got to build this core, make it stronger so you can trust yourself more. And just rest in it. Rest in your power. You need to be able to rest in your power more. Trevor. So I see that there's like a spiritual blindfold over your third eye, and you really want to take the blindfold off. And this is a simple pattern that often happens. It's like basically don't rush things. Don't ask for mental explanations or answers before it's time. In many ways, it looks like you're measuring it as if like you can't fully trust this path of these changes until you have a clearer explanation. And that's why you're not getting a clearer explanation, because you need more of a trust ingredient beneath the surface. You got it. You've got it. You're doing it. You just need to like amplify it, center it more. It's actually really healthy. Like you've got a good, healthy trust in you. You just need to translate there. You need that. Like, I'm sorry, this isn't as exciting as you might want at the moment, but it's like the discipline of just reminding yourself several times a day, hey, you're on the right track. You got this. Don't push. Let the answers come to you. Let the understanding clarify itself. It'll be a lot more beautiful than anything you could force. And you would make the biggest difference to your energy if you committed to this discipline, to just like contend with your urge to explain things too quickly and develop a trust in the discipline of like let it come to you. You don't need to go find it. You got this. You got this. It's in your third eye. You could practice the third eye breathing. Kinsey's done this amazing job. She's breaking down the breathing exercises, 1-minute exercises in individual videos. So you could find it and return to it again and again. And we'll put them in more obvious places soon, I hope. Third eye. Just clear it out again and again, several times a day. Several times a day. Don't rush this. Thank you so much for the donation. It always helps. It always feels good. You're the only ones who know what you could give, when you could give. But it always feels, it's always a blessing. Thank you. Okay, where are we? Jordan. Thank you, Alora. You have a struggle between your receptive and assertive sides. So you actually have a clear logical understanding, but your creativity is rebellious. And it's like, I naturally sympathize with this rebelliousness, but you really need to get along. So I'm going to do something with you for 1 minute, and I'm going to urge you to use this several, honestly, you could do it several times a day. Make yourself do it several times a week. Hey Siri, set a timer for a minute.
1 minute, starting now.
Imagine a figure 8 going left to right in your navel. Left to right in your navel. And you're breathing and you're imagining it going like this. Flat to the ground. You're integrating your receptive, assertive, and assertive identity. And allow these parts of yourself to integrate in a way that's natural. It's here. You don't have to think about it. There you go. Relax it in. Slow it down. The navel is a great place to do work when it's not time to think. Thank you so much. The navel is a great place to do work when it's not time to think. You're trying to think too much. Your thoughts are already healthy. You're searching for greater clarification. You've already got the clarification. You need integration. You need to build the trust within yourself that you're on the right path, and calm down the voice in you that's asking for more proof or more explanation. This is similar to what Trevor is doing, but not the same. You could focus on your core to do this, and you want to integrate left, right, left, right, left, right. And you could do that several times a day. Definitely do it 3 more times this week on your own. For a minute, you can do it. And I'd love to see how you're doing in a week, because I think that alone will make a difference. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate them. It's a blessing to have you show YouTube that you appreciate this time, this video. Let's get out and find more people who get along with us and build strength together. That's what YouTube ultimately does for us. Please think of it as something we do for each other. And clicking like really does help that. Xander. So you're legitimately angry. You've been doubted in a way that's damaging to you. You need to develop a discipline to hold it inside, because you are getting stronger, and then that anger is kind of burning up your fuel all at once. There's a reason we call this wild flowing fire. All right. You want to be in tune with the wild. A flowing fire that doesn't burn down everything has to be conscious and intentional within yourself. You want to be a flowing fire moving through the world that doesn't even burn a flower. You are getting stronger, and your anger is getting the best of you, at least internally. So even when you don't express it, you're still wrestling with it too much. It's still dominating your attention too much. What you want to be able to do is use your anger. Use your anger as a clue that you don't feel safe. Anger is a response to fear that's trying to make you be safe. So rather than just controlling it, just not getting mad or screaming at someone, you want to say, I need more security right now. You need space to yourself. You need to Take your distance from people who trigger you. Try not to think about people who aren't near you, who have hurt you, and focus on doing simple, basic things for yourself. You need to get used to having more energy in you without burning it up looking at the past. It's really important. And this isn't your third eye. It's taking over your mind. Your mind is getting focused on, oh, remember when this happened? And oh, they did this. And what would be crucial for you to add to this equation is you're the one who's getting stronger when you start to think about these things. And your natural reaction is to try to protect your newfound strength and vibrancy. It's just that you're doing it in a kind of ineffective way. So commit to recognizing the anger as a sign that you need to feel safe. You need to take space. It's not a time to argue with anybody. Say what you need to say to create space to say no to people's criticism, but keep it simple, get your distance, and take care of yourself. Develop that discipline for the next 3 months. Don't rush these. And you get to celebrate. If you just start to make this, you get to celebrate that you're getting stronger. You get to recognize that when your anger is surging, it's because you're stronger. And if you get yourself into a safer environment, you'll be able to go, yeah, this is working. There you go. That's what it takes to contain that fire. You want to burn that fire in a tight, hot space where you don't burn down everything around you. Sound good? Good for you, Xander. You're really getting this. Elora. Oh, I see it. Crown time. So something's working, it's surging, and then it's stalling, sort of. But this is not bad. It's not a terrible stall, but it is a stall. It looks to me like, there's a little bittersweetness to this. You need to look at some of your heroes from the past and go, thank you. Not anymore. You don't really speak for me anymore. It looks to be like a part of you, like a younger part, like a girl within you is having a hard time saying goodbye to some of your old music, some of the old patterns that you loved. You can still visit occasionally, but they're in the way right now. A process is trying to move through you, and it's starting to fountain out your crown. It's getting out of your crown, but then it's stalling. There's like baggage in your aura from your past. And you just have to, like, imagine you loved a sports team when you were young. You would have to remember the players and say, no, thank you. You're not my hero anymore. Imagine several musicians you loved when you were young. You have to just look at them and say, thank you for being who you were, but you can't live here anymore. I can't keep giving you any energy. That's all. It's a little bittersweet. You're saying goodbye, but you need this because something's working for you and you can't afford to give it to Cyndi Lauper. She doesn't really speak for you anymore. That's me. I love Cyndi Lauper. I really did when I was a kid. There's more. Whew. Okay. There's a real tight, hot burden on your heart. Let me tell you, that one's going to take some work. You're pissed. Like, this is deep. And you're going to have to breathe through this one. Like, it's going to take a little while. It's going to come up periodically. You're going to breathe it. You're going to say, no, Elora, you're not becoming. You remember when Galadriel in Lord of the Rings, she put on the ring for a minute and she turned into this like, ah! No, Elora, don't do that. Really. You just have to know this urge within you to use your power in the wrong ways. You get more powerful and say no to it. Because ultimately, when you use your power in that way, you actually move your spirit in the wrong direction. It doesn't really make you safe, even though it feels safe. And yeah, there you go. You already made the shift, so you can do these. It's just like weeding. When this comes up, you breathe, you say no, and you move on. And don't be disappointed that it comes up again. It's going to for a while. And just when it does, you say, no, not going to do that. And then breathe clarity, think green, emerald green in your heart. Center it, keep it centered. 3 minutes. If it persists, if you can't make it go away with as much as we've already done, spend 3 minutes breathing with your heart. Really set aside that time, and that alone will make a big difference. And talk to me if it's not enough, but I think that could do it. It's about making the connection. You notice when a part of yourself is kind of steering in the wrong direction, taking your newfound power, wanting to burn down everyone and anyone who's ever hurt you or could possibly hurt you in the future. Okay. Say, I'm not going to do it that way. Breathe, steer yourself back, focus on what you need to be creating. You got this. Hello, Marvin. Welcome here. Good for you, Alora. Yeah, I would imagine it's really flowing. Like you did that. That's awesome work. That's awesome work. Where are we going? Trevor, Jordan, Xander, Alora, Erica, Karen, Tom, Janie. Thank you. Okay, I don't know if you need to hear this, but you don't need pot right now. Cannabis is not what you need right now. And more importantly, underneath that, there is there's a lot of ways to connect to the earth. There's a lot of layers of life that are conscious of Gaia's totality. Gaia has many skins, so to speak. It looks to me like you were brought into a more Gaian presence by a force that now it's kind of like feels a little sick. And I think this is just a sign that you need to expand your consciousness to be to take more responsibility for building this. Like you're too experienced to identify as the person you were 3 years ago. And so I'd really urge you to take this space to think back to some of your early revelations and understand you never get the first revelations again. The first time you break into a more ecstatic awareness, it has that special presence of being the first time you broke through. So you're literally breaking through something, and there's a thrill to that. But ultimately, you don't actually want to have to keep doing that. You want to be free from all this baggage. So it feels very different to normalize your ecstasy than it does to initially ignite it. Part of you is still trying to get back into the like, oh, it'll never be that good again. Oh, it will be better, girl. It'll be better. But just not comparable, not the same. What does it look like to be you now and normalize the ecstatic presence of your awareness of this global Gaian truth? See into this horizon. Third eye, really in your third eye. It's a huge skill for you. You know how to do this. You are doing this as soon as I suggested. I see it ignite. You know how. You just need to keep your attention here. Build with it. Be an artist with it. Bring your art back more intentionally. As an expression of yourself, as healing medicine for you first and foremost. Don't even worry about how to share it. Don't rush ahead to that. First and foremost, use your art to accentuate your vision of this global beauty. Rest there because it's really beautiful and you got this. You just need to make it central. I don't even want to mess with it anymore. That's really beautiful, Erica. Karen. Wow. So I see a vision of you getting slapped. It's not okay. It was never okay. I don't know if that's literal or metaphorical, but you were taught with that kind of violence. Looks to me like it was in like, it was like all about respect. Like something was like forcing you to respect it. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a parent who really did that, or just if you were in the presence of some kind of authority figure who basically did that regularly to keep dominance over you. It's just not okay. It wasn't okay. It isn't okay. You don't want to become that angry. You just need to know it. It wasn't okay. You're pissed. You're pissed underneath it, and you need to talk to the part of yourself that's angry and just be like, look, get yourself into a safe environment emotionally. You mostly are. You mostly are. But you don't trust that you're going to keep yourself there. You almost don't trust that you're going to protect yourself. Like you're going to wander towards authority figures like this still because they know how to like snap you to attention, and you haven't fully bought into the no. You need to say no. No one who treats you that way gets to be in authority over you. No one. This is in your crown. This is in your crown. There you go. There you go. Just kick it out with your breath. I even do this, all right? I do this. Kick it out with your breathing. No authority figure that slaps you to get your attention has a right to be dominant over you. There you go. Now breathe with that. That's enough moving through. Now breathe with it and it'll cleanse it. There you go. Let the anger go this way. The anger is designed to warn you when you're potentially under threat, but you have to be the one that asks yourself, are you really under threat, or is this just your memory? I'm suggesting you're mostly just remembering. You have a lot of good influences in your life right now. Stay with them. Trust it, build this, and ultimately teach yourself not to gravitate back towards the kind of authority that would hurt you in this way to maintain dominance. You know it, you're familiar with it. That's why you don't feel safe, because it's so familiar that something in you actually gravitates towards it. And you're going to have to say no to a couple more people like this in your life. You can do it. It's not even super soon. You can do this. I hope this is clear enough. It's in your crown. Say no to people who use violence to control you. And that includes mental, emotional violence. Say no. Say no. No, you need more. So I'm going to invite you to imagine a circle of ice. Those of you who are here, imagine circling around her. Karen needs this. And you imagine sitting in the center of this, or standing if you need to. You could stand. Lift your chin up. No. Imagine you are confronting someone who slapped you to try to control you. Stare right at them and say no. And feel our help. Feel our help. Stare right at them and say no. You're not going to let go of yourself, of your truth, of your heart, of your courage, of your confidence, of your truth, of your path. You're not going to. Let that slap hurt their arm. There you go. You got that. And let this be a strength you can return to. Keep it. We're not losing anything. We're creating it with you. It's different. Keep it. We need you to be this. Own it. Yep. And that's why you need to practice saying no. Yeah. It keeps showing up. I could see it. So we could do this again, Karen, but I want you to remember it and return to this space, because I felt you make the shift. You know how to say no. You just have to keep doing it. Don't let that be sad. It's normal to have to confront patterns several times in order to make them dissolve. Tom, That's awesome, man. Like, Tom, you have done so much work that, like, you want to use your strength more. And I think we need to find ways to help you do that. You want to, like, I see you like wanting to flex your spiritual strength. And I think it's a natural, healthy instinct. You want to use it. You're a powerful presence. You want to use your power. You want it to move through you. And there's no shame in that. By relying on us, you keep yourself in check. You keep yourself, in tune with your morals, your truth, your purpose. You've got this. I just invite you to trust this feeling. There you go. Okay, then there's a burden. Underneath that, there's a burden on your shoulders it's heavy. And it looks to me like you also need to let yourself be vulnerable. I'm inclined to say something that I really want to follow through, and I'm going to honor you, Tom, for being present in a way that challenges this. Don't cry alone. When you find yourself at the edge of tears or crying alone, whether you stop it or let it flow, reach out as soon as you can. If you can't do it that minute, try to do it within an hour. And if you can't do it that hour, try to do it within that day. I've started making this a discipline with my closest friends. And I found myself crying on the floor a couple weeks ago, and I felt one of my friends, and I knew I could call him, and I did, and he was there for me. You need that. It is not healthy to cry alone. And it's not better to stop the tears. So whether or not you stop them, tears like that are a sign you need intimacy. You need trust. You need presence. And it's a kind of strength, okay? So I don't think it's an accident that I noticed the intensity of your strength spiritually and a recognition that you need more support in this way. You need to know that it's here for you. I would love our sanctuary to be a place where folks can reach out in this way. I would love our sanctuary to be a place where you can heartstorm and say, hey, I was just crying. I need to tell you. And, we'll develop it. We'll learn together what will work. Okay. But holy, my goodness, Tom, I am very excited to continue to help you be present in your full strength and your full power, because we need you at your best. You are awesome. And having you here with us is such a gift, such a blessing. Just know that. Thank you. Janie. You're funnier than you give yourself credit for. At the moment, sometimes it feels mean to you, so you often keep it to yourself, but that's just where it's manifesting. Like, don't dig in. Like, once someone is down, don't take pleasure in their loss or their suffering. But when someone's being an asshole, it's okay to use vicious humor to hold them in check, particularly in your own mind and with other people you love and trust. Once someone's down, once they're actively in their suffering, don't keep hurting them. Don't make fun of them. It's a very specific point, Janie, and I invite you to really aim for it, because you're not protecting yourself. You have a form of protection. You have an ability to protect yourself with an aggressive humor that you're saying, that's mean. I don't want to be that. Saying, look, stop taking the punches. This part of yourself is part of a deeper strength that can tell folks to back away and leave you alone. When someone is in pain, but they distract themselves from their pain and suffering by hurting other people, by dominating other people, by bullying other people, by interfering in other people's lives, it's appropriate to use as much force as is necessary to back them away, and as little as is necessary, as much as is necessary, and as little as is necessary. You're not using as much as necessary. And it seems to me that it manifests in a vicious humor side of yourself that you're saying no to as if you're a bad person there. I'm telling you, it's not good or bad. It's bad if you use it on someone who's down, on someone who's in the gutter, on someone who's miserable. Use it when you need it. Use it when they're strong and bullying. Once they can't bully anymore, stop. That's the point you need to own. This is all in your throat. You need to be willing to say things that sound mean. When it's natural, when it's clear, when it's there as a force coming through you, protecting yourself. I urge you to really seriously dig deep and let that happen, because you're taking too much. You're taking too much pain right now, and you can protect yourself. You're strong enough to. You've just decided not to at the moment. That's it. Marvin. All right. So you need to celebrate something for yourself before other people are going to get you. You have not appreciated yourself for how far you've come. And there's almost a loneliness in it. You're like, oh, I can't celebrate because no one's with me. No, God's with you. Gaia is with you. She's present in a way that's very intimate and here and watching you and honoring you and aware of you. She's sparking you to have a party. She's inviting you to have a party. But her version of a party is watch the fucking sunset, Marvin. Watch the sunset for 2 hours. This is homework for you. For 2 hours, I want you to sit. I want you to get a drink or something special. I want you to be as warm as you need to be, and just hang out and watch the sunset with Gaia and celebrate, because you've come through a lot. You have centered yourself so deeply from where you used to be, and you're still pushing ahead. You're almost like, what's the next job? What's the next thing to do? Chill out. Celebrate this. And I don't think you really want to share yet. Don't try to share yet. It doesn't have to be lonely. You're with the world. That's why I say the sunset. It's fucking beautiful. Watch the changes. Watch the changes. Feel the air. Breathe it. Watch the sky. Watch the hues change. You might think you want company, but I don't think you really do yet. Let the part of you that wants it chatter away, because a deeper part of you wants to be left alone still. You're raw. You're vulnerable. Let yourself feel safe. Get a good hoodie on. Get a blanket around you. Feel safe. Let yourself feel that vulnerability. Take alone time to do it, and then you find out that you're with the world with you. She's very with you. I don't know what the hell you did all at once, but you did a lot. You've come through a ton. You haven't paused to breathe and enjoy it and appreciate yourself. And I can tell. I know the patterns. So thank you. Thank you for yourself. Good job. Gene. It's time to think about you. It's time to think about you. Think. Use your thoughts to clarify. What do you really like right now? What do you really, what's you? You're still identifying with old patterns from like 10 years ago and more. Ask this as a question. Who are you now? What works for you now? You're still having a wrestling match with your old habits. You need to clear out your old habits by second guessing them. Is that really what's right? It's almost like you think of yourself as the person who's failing to do the things that were healthy for you 10 years ago. You think of yourself as the person who's failing to do the things that were healthy for you 10 years ago. They were healthy for you 10 years ago. That's what you needed then. What do you need now? What do you need now? Ask that more as a question. Think about it. Don't answer it right away. Hold the question. What do you need to be doing now? Who are you now? Who are you now? Today and next week, hold this question and be excited to answer it. Be curious to answer it. Don't rush to answer it. There you go. Just started to change. Just started to get into your mind. Let that happen. Let that happen. You can let it happen energetically first. It's amazing. Breathe with your third eye. Breathe with your third eye and let a healthy cloud just sweep through. Sweep away your old ideas. Breathe it. Yes, we're going to do it. Set a timer for a minute. 1 minute. Breathe with your third eye. Hey Siri, set a timer for a minute.
1 minute. Counting down.
Breathe with your third eye. You can use the blind cross breath. If you don't know it now, learn it this week. Imagine a fresh air moving through. It's a spiritual presence sweeping through your third eye, taking away cobwebs, crumbs, old thoughts. Let it happen with your breath. There you go. Tighten it. Definitely do that once a day this week. That'd probably be enough. You could do it 3 times a day. Don't do it more than 3 times a day. Between once a day and 3 times a day for this week. Andrea. So you have a hope that you haven't had. Think about a little fire. If you start a little fire, before we had lighters and matches, you're making a spark from a flint. So you have to have little shavings, sawdust. And then you spark that and it starts to burn. If you take a whole stick and dump it on top, you're going to put it out. You have a very sacred, beautiful hope. A little fire can make a big fire. Just takes patience and care. That's what you need right now. You need to breathe on it, not too much, not too little. You need to add fuel, not too much, not too little. These are the disciplines that I encourage you to focus on for 3 weeks. 3 weeks, be careful. Don't try to resolve everything. Don't sell all your stuff and move to another country. Like, ignore things like that. For 3 weeks, just build the feeling of hope. You've gotten in touch with a new kind of hope. It's really special. Don't rush it. And just set yourself back. But also don't be paranoid. It won't go out as long as you give it some attention. You just tune into this hope. Be like, hey, what do you need from me? What kind of care do you need? Talk to it. Ask yourself. Yeah, there's a fear. Someone's going to come in and crush it. I get that. No. The only reason that fear can get close to you is because ultimately you're scared of how powerful you are. And that's the kind of fear that would attract sabotage, that would destroy the kind of hope that you're feeling. You can do these. We're saying no to this presence. A presence offered to destroy it for you. It's not an awful, nefarious thing. It's your own desire It's your own desire to not do this yet, to not wake up yet. Wake up now. It's time. You can do this. There you go. Now it's in your heart, okay? Breathe in your heart. You don't have to do this all day, every day. One time I was studying with a Kung Fu master, and he told me that my heart was too compressed, that he could see it in the hunch on my back, and that I was not powerful enough because my heart wasn't open. So I spent all day pulling my shoulders back and walking like this. By the end of the day, I had a migraine. Don't rush these. You just means stand up straight, breathe deep into your heart. Do that a couple times a day for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, don't even push it. Just stand up straighter, breathe deeper into your heart. Try to make that a habit. You could develop a discipline if you wanted to of setting aside 3 minutes 3 times a day. You could, but I don't even want to push you to, because you're inclined to push too much. So if that's appealing, do it. But if not, don't worry about it. You got this. You got this. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Let it build slowly. It'll last. Right. Why, thank you. I feel your spirit appreciating me in a way that, thank you, Ryan. And there's a real sense of like, dude, own these. I think the reason I can be so helpful to you is that this work can give a context, a framework. Learning the disciplines of the key ring, of the yoga, of meditating with it, is giving a framework to work you've already done. You've done a lot of work, and I see it. I see it as a fact. And I do think you need to know from me that I see that, and that this is you. This isn't you becoming me. I was given this stuff. So it's an honor to give it to you. Being able to pay it forward is one of the greatest gifts in existence. So there's no shame in accepting patterns from me that help give life to you. It's like a lattice for a plant. You're the plant. You're healthy. You have huge potential. Your fruit and flowers are amazing. You did that. Wildflowerfire is a lattice that helps you grow taller and helps keep your fruit off the ground so it doesn't rot. But it's a mistake to think of it as like, oh, this is all credit. I see you resisting going deeper with this work because you rightly want to, it's like you want to maintain yourself. Like, this is yours. It's yours. I know it's yours. I know how much you've done. I honor it deeply. And I'm so blessed to be able to suggest that get through it, master this stuff, memorize the things you haven't memorized, finish the lessons, get to the second course. You need this stuff. It'll help you be you. It'll just help you be you, more of who you already are. And I mean it. I'm honored you showed up here. I'm so glad you're here. You showed up verbally like a year ago, and you are part of a great change. I was very aware of it. I was very aware when you showed up, and the presence, the blessing, and the respect that you brought. And you're a part of what we're creating in a way that's just really special. Thank you. Good rest of your week to you, people. This has been a great last reading time. Next week, we're going to be doing it live on Google Meet. The link will be posted in the membership space. So I'll be able to see you more. We'll be able to go deeper. It's going to be coming through in different forms. We're going to experiment a little in how it happens. There's a lot to uncover. Do please visit, sign up. First month's free. Get in there, get the legacy rate, and keep it, and stay with us as we grow. Thousands of people need to be with us here. We've got a great strength to share. We've got wonderful medicine. Thank you for being a part of it. Much love.